Hey guys, welcome back to Altaz-Review. There's all kinds of games coming out these days, some breaking our expectations and some falling a little short. But one game that I'm strangely hyped for is Armored Core 6. I've never played an Armored Core game before, but just like many others, I can't wait to play as a mech in a desolate world. The question for now though is, should you try out Armored Core 6 as a new player? Well, let's take a look at the series and the newest installment. Armored Core has always been quite an ambitious series that uses creative and complicated mechanics to manage your mech and complete missions using all the modifications and ammo you've prepared in advance. There's a lot of elements to focus on during combat, and even just customizing your mech can feel overwhelming. But those who want the real feeling of creating the ultimate mech and using your hard work to efficiently complete missions, this series has become a long-running favorite. The story of Armored Core is quite similar to the background of Dark Souls. Originally, Demon's Souls released as a niche title that attracted hardcore RPG enthusiasts that enjoy managing stats and maximizing damage output, and creating effective builds. But the game ultimately went by without much fame. But once fans found an interest in what Demon's Souls had to offer, more people gave a chance to the newest From Software title, Dark Souls, which released at a time where RPG mechanics were more well received. The increased interest in RPGs and a need for something more original allowed Dark Souls to prosper using Demon's Souls as a catalyst, since it helped some players understand the atmosphere that the game was going for. Now, after many years of Armored Core, which stayed a mostly niche series with a dedicated fanbase, Armored Core 6 is coming back in a time where more players are mentally prepared to crunch numbers and test themselves. Souls-like games have helped players deal with huge datasheets of stats and builds, pretty similar to mech building in Armored Core. And knowing what Armored Core is capable of, dedicated fans are excited for the comeback, while new players like us are anxious to see what Armored Core is all about. From Software already has a good reputation of creating very involved mechanics, thoughtful combat, and detailed level design. There's no reason to think a From Software game will be less than top quality. Given some of the speculations and reviews of initial demos, we have a good idea of some things to expect. There's been some back and forth in the community about whether or not Armored Core 6 will be a Souls-like, but I would refer to what was quoted by Vaatividya and Ratatoskr, that Armored Core 6 will be borrowing from past games. With that in mind, I'm almost certain that Armored Core 6 will share the no mercy gameplay style of From Software's other games. Even Dark Souls and Sekiro are quite different, but they share a certain focus on challenge and staying focused on how to defeat enemies. The games don't give you any shortcuts or easy ways out. Armored Core 6 might keep this mentality of taking advantage of enemies' vulnerability and getting punished for mistakes. Other similarities would focus on simpler things like detailed boss design and some aspects of level design, but on a larger scale. Even customization might take a few tips from Dark Souls or Elden Ring in terms of stats and balancing. But at the end, it can only be inspiration, because Armored Core as a series already has a strong base that would be ruined if too many things are changed. Armored Core as a game does the same thing as Dark Souls or Sekiro. It puts you in the role of the playable character. Dark Souls forces you to go on a real adventure, find magic, train your physical and mental aspects, and overcome obstacles in whatever way you can think of. It's a real adventure. It's a real fantasy setting. Sekiro makes you learn to read opponents and use your tools effectively to finish enemies quickly and cleanly, like a proper samurai/ninja. And Armored Core lets you think like a true mech pilot and create a suitable machine for the mission while managing funds and helping your fellow soldiers carry out directives. These games put you in a more realistic role, with the pros and the cons, whether you like it or not. After seeing how fun it is to play the character more honestly in Dark Souls and Sekiro, I'm sure that Armored Core will provide a mech simulator more fulfilling than any other robot fighting game. That's not to say that I think it will be the best mecha game ever, but it will serve the mecha genre the same way Dark Souls serves the RPG genre. In fact, Armored Core 6 might start a new standard of gaming, where mech customization is as in-depth and rewarding as tuning a car in a racing sim. There aren't enough games that use the idea of mechs and robots in gameplay. Even a game like Horizon has great robot mechanics and robot designs, but they're only used in static enemy designs, and it's not really expanded upon any further than just what kind of enemies you face. Where are all those games where you get to play as a robot, or play as a mech, and maybe even customize that robot or mech? Even the games that do have some version of robots don't have that same level of weight or detail in how the robots are made and how you can customize them and change them. But Armored Core 6 promises a level of detail and a focus on combat in the same way that we've seen in games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I'm excited to see what kind of builds and playstyles we'll see from the community, and I want to see how different people will react to the game, whether they're Armored Core veterans, Souls players, or regular new players. I'm sure the responses will be different all over. But after hearing about some of the changes to the mechanics and some of the additions, it sounds like Armored Core 6 is a little more welcoming to new players while maintaining the core elements that matter to older fans. Since From Software have been releasing masterpiece after masterpiece for the last few years, I'll probably play all of their games till one of them finally disappoints me. But even then, Armored Core 6 is a well-respected franchise which has already received a lot of care and dedication by the developers and the fans. I'm sure the revival of the series in Armored Core 6 will be respectful of its legacy, and I can't wait to fly around and drop 100 missiles from my new mech when I finally get my hands on Armored Core 6. It's all speculation and hopeful thinking, but I hope Armored Core 6 meets our expectations just like Elden Ring did. Once it comes out, I'll be sure to make a new video about what I think, but until then, please leave a comment about what you guys think and what games you'd like to hear more about. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribe. I hope I see you here again.